Can AI tell us whether or not if we dropped an atomic bomb inside a hurricane, it would stop it?
One of my students talked about that in the ethics class.
Really?
Yes. Can it tell you? Probably. Should anybody be doing it? No.
What would happen? Would it just keep going and just taking nuclear fallout over to America? What would happen?
Probably.
Like I'm not blaming Trump. Like sometimes I think it's nice to ask a question like you're in grade 5. Because it shows an innocence, right? A naivete. And sometimes we need to be innocent and ask the questions that the adults won't. So in that respect,
I had somebody email me when I first started doing tornado research who wanted to know if we could just stop the tornadoes by dropping enough liquid nitrogen into the storm.
There you go.
And, I was relatively new to doing tornado research, and I said, well, I don't think that you can, but, I went to my tornado friends and I said, explain to me, just like you're talking about, like a fifth grader, explain to me what I need to understand about this to understand precisely why it won't work. The answer is you probably can drop liquid nitrogen into the tornadoes enough to stop the tornado. However, it's so much liquid nitrogen that you have now killed everybody on the ground.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because you've gotten rid of all their oxygen, which is kind of a bit of a problem. So I think that the hurricane question is relatively similar, right? There probably is something. I do not want to speculate about nuclear. Right. I think there probably is something you could do to change the trajectory of it somehow, like the path of how it's forming. But it would probably be so bad and the downstream consequences so unanticipated that it would do really bad things. And since you're an author and talking about your book there was a really good book that came out recently, Neil Stephenson's book, about climate modification. And it talks about sort of the unseen downstream consequences. They started in the book, they hypothetically start shooting, well, they really do it, but it's a book. So understand that it's done in the book, not for real. They build these guns in South Texas and they start putting sulfur into the upper levels of the stratosphere to reflect back, to make it, not as hot. And it works in some places, it makes the weather better, but in other places it makes it worse because it has downstream modifications that happen. And that would be my answer to anything that's trying to change the hurricane. Same as with the tornadoes. You're going to have downstream consequences that are worse than you think. Another question on those lines I once got asked is, could we just build a really tall wall? My answer to that is no.
Well, I like that kind of thinking, right? That's kind of neat, right? Like, what if? I think we should encourage that type of questioning. I mean, everybody was down on Trump for asking it, and I thought, well, wait a minute. He has the right to ask that. It's like a child asking a question. If you don't know something, why not ask it?